things will get brighter. Ooh, child, things are gonna get easier. Hey! Hi! I'm back, Elaine Marolakos Edelson with Astrology Mojo. Want to help you get your mojo back, especially now. Let's change the channel, shall we? Hi, come say hello to me. Okay, here I am, I'm back. Did a whole lot of meditations to up my vibe. And up a lot during the night because of it. The world has shut down pretty much, right? So, well, first of all, if you're new to me, welcome. Elaine Marolakos Edelson with Astrology Mojo. And I can't see you very well. Hang on. Want to help you get your mojo back. That's right, I do. With regard to the planets, in astrology, the planets don't make you do anything no matter what you hear. And because we live in a cooperation with the cosmos, so that when the planets are making a move, you feel it. When you make a move, the planets reflect that by way of aspects and angles in astrology, okay? And when that happens, it's a collaboration, so that it doesn't matter what sign you are, or what rising sign or moon sign. When you think a thought, when you have a feeling, and you put that out into the world, it moves like a wave and then hits like a particle. So that affects the entire energy grid of this earth. And yes, there is an energy grid on the earth. And those of us in my world, we take the time to help to increase that energy, help to support that energy. And thought forms that come out of your head, oh, look, I'm ghosting. Silver really is my favorite color. Although magenta is my aura. We've been taking the time to meditate and to pour love into the world in as many moments as possible so that we can strengthen the grid of the earth, right? That's the thing. So later on, we're going to do a quick mini meditation to help you to do that as well for yourself, your family, and for your community, neighbors, the world. It's going to spread like a virus, but not. More like the waves of divinity and pure conscious love that you are. And so it will permeate the ethers and blood, bone, stone, tree, and person. Okay? So let's talk about... first of all, what's happening? Well, we know what's happening. I'm going to post an email that was sent to me by my husband regarding Peter Diamandis, who is an author, physician, scientist, entrepreneur, very profound individual who has some fact test studies. Okay, so things are being done to combat this virus. And successfully as well. So it's not in the mainstream news yet. So please turn off the news. Okay. You check in once a week for about 10 minutes, But other than that, as you up your vibe, you change your frequency. And what happens when you change your frequency? It's like in your body, you have cells and they bounce into one another. It's called the Browning movement. And then it starts a chain reaction. It moves to the next cell and the next cell and the next cell, and things, literally bounce off the walls. And when you can breathe and focus, you can actually alter your cellular movement. You can, when cells cluster, you have pain, emotional or physical pain in that area. So when they decluster through meditation, you allow more light and space to enter. And when that happens, you have a little bit more control over your thoughts and feelings and then what you pulse into the world in every direction. You will send out a frequency, and that frequency can either support or sabotage what's going on in you, in your family, in your home, community, surroundings, and in the world eventually. So let's take back some power, realize that you have the power, and do our part to be as kind and compassionate, and to not regurgitate what we keep hearing and the negative. It doesn't mean we're hiding our heads in the sand. It means we hear one version of the news and then we start to create our own version, which is uplifting, happier, more supportive, and looking at what you can do in any scenario, in any case. Hey, Casey's here and Shelby. Hello. With the toilet paper. It's like an episode of The Walking Dead. You go into a store and you grab whatever you can find because at some point you're going to use it. And what do people think? I went to the store the other day in the meat section, wiped out. The shelves are wiped out. There are 2 things sitting on the shelves. And I guess these are the things people don't like. And one was some kind of sugar-edged, peppery bacon strips. I don't know what that was. And brisket. And of course, in the paper, and of course in the produce aisle, I had to go to 4 stores to find broccoli sprouts, which are great for the immune system, by the way. And so is glucosamine, but liposomal. It went from $20 a 4-ounce bottle to $45 a 4-ounce bottle. So I'm using other things for my immune system. Anyway, so I went to the paper aisle, right? And the water aisle, everything's, gone. Because people are thinking, what are my basic needs? I need to drink water and then, I need to take care of it on the other end. So I guess that's what's with the paper deal. We could go Roman, one cloth on a wooden stick and use it as a swab for 6 weeks. I don't think so. No, I have another choice. Okay, so no, I'm not talking about the zombies. I'm talking about the people who survive on The Walking Dead. They grab anything they can use because of the scarcity mentality, which is a virus unto itself. The scarcity mentality. All right, so we're going to move beyond that, and how to up your frequency is by realizing that you do have self-control, yes, but you do have the ability to think a thought that creates a vibration, and that vibration doesn't disappear once you stop thinking the thought. It's in the ethers. It moves. It travels at the speed of light and sound. and it permeates everything. So, the more concentrated areas of fear, and yes, some people are getting sick and some people are dying. The average age is 70. And from what I read so far, not all the stats are in. So this is an incomplete assessment that is out there. That I'd say 30 to 35% of the folks who have died were in nursing homes and who are getting sick. And some of the others had traveled to Asian countries, to or from Asian countries, or Mexico. But that's 2 weeks ago. And as the virus mutates, which it will and is doing, we build up an immunity. And by being smart and eating well and washing our hands and doing all the smart things. Now, let's talk about the energy version of it. Okay, the virus can stop you in your tracks when you're thinking, oh my gosh, I don't want to go out, the whole thing. And if you look at any one particular illness in the world, you can focus on that illness. And if the only stats were ever given on people who died or have brain cancer, let's say, for an example, you'd see an enormous amount of things. But if they never talked about anything else, you would see, oh my gosh, people, how are they getting brain cancer? Why? Some are dying, so then that's where the focus is. So we're going to broaden our focus beyond the news, okay? And look inward. And let's look inward. Now, astrologically, Saturn, the planet that deals with authority, brick and mortar building, the old, tried and true, the standard structure for society, for work, for living, also denial and karma, is now in the sign, or will be in 2 days, but we're feeling it now. Excuse me. In the sign of Aquarius. And Aquarius is higher technology, is the original chain link to slavery and the bolt cutter, right? So moving through space and energy and using higher technology is the way to go, and incorporating that into a tried and true system. So we're seeing that now. People are assessing, what would happen if, in the mainstream, we take it for granted. Most people do anyway. Oh, if I want, excuse me, paper or food or whatever, I just go to the store and I get it. But now there's a different viewpoint. And so it brings up something. What if I'm out of control? What if I have no power? Hey, Catherine's here. What if I don't have the ability to fill in the blank? What if I get sick? What if my kids get sick? And that's a possibility any day of the week, in any year, not just now, right? So let's calm down the panic vibe and look at what you're doing and who you are. And by the way, the people who have died of the virus had a pre-existing condition, either emphysema, diabetes, heart or immune system difficulties. So work on your immune system, but we're going to definitely look at our vibe. Okay? So Saturn represents that authority figure, and what you're being told, and hey, Rhonda's here, what you're being told and how you're being directed to think, to act. Now, not everything that we see is true. And again, I'm going to, Dean, if you're listening, can you literally post a link or post the entire email from Peter Diamandis so that people can see what's being done in this world and regarding the virus and cures that are being made right now, and some that are very successful in different countries. So, then we get into the who gets it, what's the patent, how much does it cost, where are we going to put it, then it comes down to the structure of and who's involved. But let's focus right now on how we can have a little bit happier time in our own minds and bodies by putting something useful and productive into the world. And if you are doing that, thank you. I appreciate your vibe. If you're not doing that, I understand. We all can go to that moment of fear or doubt or confusion. And if you've been there for more than a few days, it's time to leave that place, that state of being, so that you don't debilitate your own immune system, your own frequency, and the Earth's energy grids, the ley lines, as some people call them. And so if you're looking at how to do that successfully, it means when you feel a negative feeling, feel the feeling. Just be where you are. That's the reality. I feel sad. I feel angry. I feel confused. All right, be that. But then you have tools to then bridge your way out of that. Okay? And that's the whole point. I'm going to pull a, right up top, a Secret Language of Light card. I'll take a sip first. How's everyone doing? Come say hello to me. Okay. Secret Language of Light. That we have this extra time in the world with offices and, businesses closing down for a while, or, on a skeleton crew, or, advising everyone to stay put. Now you have an opportunity to not just keep watching the same story over and over again, the programming, but to start a new program. And so let's ask universe, higher selves, guides, angels, and starseed to make the intention known for a focus, for today at least, if not the whole week. Okay? So let's look at these cards and see what wants to show itself. Oh, that one just stood out for me. Oh, I like this card. Grounding. Okay? The grounding card. Right? We like that. It's so pretty. These cards are beautiful. These cards are by Denise Jarvie, Secret Language of Light. And the, pardon me, I've had some allergies this week. And the grounding card is talking about, okay, first sentence, thank you, universe. This is always so great. Circumstances have affected your energy. Pardon me. You may be feeling disconnected, scattered, or overwhelmed. You may be bumping into things and forgetting if you locked your door or turned the iron off when you left home. Call your dispersed energy back into your heart. Imagine any imbalanced or excess energy flowing into the earth and feel the calmness of nature in exchange. Okay, that's what we're talking about. What a perfect card, right? We're talking about grounding. We're talking about putting energy back into the earth ley line grids and to support ourselves by coming out of the head space, coming down into the heart, and being more and more productive and proactive in how you can have a say in how this all turns out. Yeah, you can. You actually can. So let me just check in with people. Rhonda, yes, rare opportunity to think out of the box. Grounding is much needed, says Catherine. Perfect. Yes, so let's ground ourselves. And how do we do that? Well, the first thing is to realize that you do have power, and you may not have power over certain things in life, certainly, but what can you do? You can harness those thoughts of yours and see them actually expanding in a. Let me see if I put in the Venus thing. Okay. As an example, Venus in retrograde coming up in May through June. And these are the readings I'm doing now, March through April. And the Venus, let me make this a little big. Okay. I want you to look at the Venus grid. Even though I was talking about Saturn in Aquarius, let's look at the Venus grid for a second. This is called the 5 lotus petal. It is called Venus retrograde. And what happens, or the pentagram, yeah, it's raining and it snowed last night for 5 minutes, so things are blooming. When this Venus makes its patterns around the Earth, well, from the point of view of the Earth, Venus will, traverse the sun on the ecliptic in a certain way that it looks like, and it does this. This is a mathematical calculation. This is a real thing. And this flower petal that it makes, the Venus pentagram, it goes around and around and around with certainty. We know that this is what Venus is going to do from the point of view of the Earth. And every time it conjuncts the sun and moves into a retrograde, which it will do that, it lands in the 5 same places in your chart. And it takes 8 years to complete this cycle. So the 5 same places in your chart within, depending on the degree and the cusp, could be the 4th house or the 5th house, but it'll make the same 5 passes, right? And when it does that, you can be certain that certain issues will arise. Now, just as an example, astrologically, when we look at a major thing that affects people on the earth, and I did a reading for there's a psychologist in town, and she sent me an email and she said, well, you called it. And I was like, I don't know what that means. And she said, in my reading, you were talking in December about how everyone on the collective was going to have to deal with a common enemy. I said, well, I don't remember my readings, but I'm sure I said it. And how we can move our frequency, that this was an opportunity to move our frequency into a collective support. Now, what I'm seeing in emails is a wonderful thing, how people are saying, 125% towards your next cruise, we had to, cancel, or the show that was canceled. Let's reschedule. Now, it's a nightmare for a lot of people, like my sister who's in the wedding industry right now. Everyone's shuffling for the next date in the future. So that's a coordinating nightmare. But aside from that, what we're really looking at here is, okay, you're home. Let's get grounded. Let's see what your thoughts are doing and what you're thinking and why. And I have a neighbor who is terrified. And, it doesn't matter how many conversations we have or how many drops of oregano oil they take. The fear is going to undermine everything. So and my father used to say, and he was a vegetarian before, he was a carnivore and then he was a vegetarian. But he used to say, Elaine, it's better to be a depressed, it's better to be a healthy carnivore than a depressed vegetarian. Okay. So, and it's so true, because what that means really, and thanks, Dad. Oh, by the way, today's my father's heavenly birthday. Let's see. He would have been, I'm 59, 80. He would have been 89 or 90. He would have been 90. Right. Because I'm turning 60. So, happy heavenly birthday, Dad. Anyway, it was a really profound thing that he said to me so many years ago. And it's true. So that you could take all the supplements in the world, but if you're, taping up your windows and wearing rubber gloves around the house, you're going to undermine the frequency. All right. It's a matter of balance and harmony with body, mind, spirit. So let's take a look at that and really be part of what we can do to express it in ourselves. Like when we catch that negative thought, what do we want to say to that negative thought? Well, I feel it. Okay. I feel scared right now in this moment, or I'm really annoyed in this moment. I'm really upset in this moment, or I'm really sad in this moment. Great. Feel it, be it. Then set a mental timer or an actual one and give yourself 5 to 7 minutes, no longer. I mean, even that's a long stretch, 3 minutes tops. And if you can't seem to shake that feeling, then comes the, we have to intercede. So what helps, and I've said this many times before, and this is proven in neuroscience, when you want to stop a pattern in its tracks, you clap your hands 5 times. It's a pattern interrupt. You jump up and down 5 times. You burst into song for 5 seconds. And the more adept acolytes who want to really test this, for 20 seconds on the clock, you do absolutely nothing. And watch how the energy wants to fade. And it does. But your brain, watch how a thought in your brain wants to keep it going because of the emotional charge, the jolt of, I feel alive when I think this. When I'm afraid, I feel alive. And I'm so panicked. And what are we going to do if we run out of toilet paper? Things like that. So you have to give yourself a slap in the face at some point. An energetic slap in the face, but being kind to yourself and other people who are in that same, kind of mentality. We're going to take a deep breath, because breath is life. Right? The air, you breathe the air every day. It's a promise of a new day. And then you're going to take that moment and say, okay, I feel that feeling, but what do I do next? One of those 3 or 4 pattern interrupts. Clap your hands 5 times, jump up and down, burst into song 5 seconds, or do all 3, or do nothing on the clock for 20 seconds. Okay, now what do? Then you replace it with a positive. And that positive needs to be a present tense gratitude. And that gratitude is like the roots of this tree. No, what did I do? I mixed up the cards already. It's like the grounding roots of the tree. I don't know what I did with the card, but you know what I'm talking about. And that grounding root is, I am safe. I am supported. Okay, let's go there. Let's go there, because if you don't change your frequency, what happens is the ley lines on the earth, the grid lines, Ley is how you spell that. The grids they start to short out, and they're very powerful, because there's a lot of power on this earth and around this earth and from different systems that are supporting this earth. And with energy and light, and it's all pure conscious love. That's what it is. So anything that comes out of fear will eventually dissipate. Now, it can get ugly. People fighting for the last, box of crackers or something, that can happen. That happens anyway. Somebody will hold you up for the $5 in your wallet. So, but we're not looking and we're not focusing on that. We don't pretend it doesn't exist. We know it exists, but we're not going to give it focus. Form follows thought. That is an actuality. Form follows thought. So you want to manifest something wonderful, and yet there's a part of you that's sabotaging you. You want to manifest the end to this whole earthly dilemma right now. Although we are uniting under one common cause. Isn't that beautiful? Is that necessary? Do we have to go into trauma? Most people have to experience trauma before they unite. Family feuds end when there's a crisis. A virus on the earth or an alien that is threatening the earth would be another, extreme version. So we have these. Well, I'm not saying there are too many aliens that are threatening us right now, but what I am saying is that there is a virus, and that virus is going to do what it does, because that's what viruses do. They look for a host and they look to thrive. A virus will look to thrive, but the difference between you and a virus is that you have conscious thought, and you can alter the direction. You can up your frequency. Okay? Make sense? That is the difference. So in utilizing that power, we're going to do a thought form that is all about the thing, and it may not have anything to do with what's in the news right now, but anything right now, I want you to focus on what is the one thing that is a recurring fear for you. Just take a moment to think about that. What is the one thing that is a recurring fear? My lighting is so off again. I don't know. I keep readjusting. Okay. Do you have that in your mind? The one fear that is reoccurring for you. And you write that down and get it clear on paper. Now, when you look at that thing, I want you to, we're going to do like a mini thing right now. So I want you to close your eyes, of course, unless you're driving or at work and you can't. So I want you to close your eyes and take a nice deep breath in and exhale. A nice deep breath in, another one. And exhale. Feel your feet flat on the floor. You're in this moment. You're as present as possible. Thoughts come and go, and you escort them to the door in your mind. Being as present as possible. I want you to imagine that you're in a room. And it's like a boardroom. And it's furnished the way you would like it to be furnished. It's got beautiful lighting, maybe big open windows, maybe it has gorgeous carpet, or maybe it's stained concrete or wooden floors. It's got a gorgeous table and desk with some chairs. And off to the right, there are 2 doors set apart by about at least 10 feet. And the first door opens closest to you. You're sitting at the head of the table. And there's a knock at the door. And fear enters. That fear that you've written down that you were thinking about that keeps recurring. That fear enters. What does it look like? Is it a blob? Is it a color? Is it a shape? Is it a person? Is it something alien in form? Is it amorphous? Is it nebulous? And it joins you at the table. And there's that fear, that recurring fear that's been coming back over and over and over again. You can't seem to shake it. And you say to it, "Why are you here?" And it says, "Because you need me." So now what I want you to do in your mind with your eyes closed is imagine that this fear is present. The fear is present, but that's different than saying, "I am afraid." I am afraid makes it part of you. Now the fear is present and it's sitting next to you. And you can say to it, "I no longer need you. Thank you for the times that I called on you and you were there. I no longer need you." And so now there's another knock at the door, and here comes the opposite to that fear. Whatever that is, what's the opposite to your fear? Is it confidence? Is it an angel? Is it another person? Is it a supportive energy? Is it a color? A scent? Is it a combination of these things? Is it just pure light? And the opposite to your fear hovers behind the fear that is present. And the fear begins to shrink and remold and reshape itself. And you put out your hand with the opposite to your fear, whatever that is, the positive, the angelic, the divinity, the color, the light, the sound, the word, courage, confidence. But the fear that was present that is so tiny now is in the palm of your hand. And you can now, with both hands cupped together, start to focus on that little tiny cell, that little tiny particle that was the presence of your fear. Now it is transforming into something different. It is light. It is love. It is confidence. It is support. It is consciousness. It's pure conscious love, and it starts to expand. And you can stretch it with your hands, and you can pull it and mold it and shape it and set it aside if you want to come back to it later, or just see it evolve into something beautiful and healing. A star. Maybe it's a light form, a being. Maybe it's part of your higher self. Maybe it's an angel. Maybe it's a word that you really love, or a sound, a frequency, a color. And it merges with the opposite to your fear, and the three of you now are one. And that strengthens who you are and your potential for the day. And that now you know you are emitting a frequency that is much higher, much more supportive of yourself and others. And now the boardroom fades away because you're bored with that old fear. That fades away, and now what you're left with is you, feeling stronger, lighter, brighter, happier, more confident, healthier, and ready to be grounded, feeling grounded, and ready to nourish yourself and others. And so you take a nice deep breath in and exhale, remembering everything, letting go any excess thoughts that don't apply. Another inhalation and exhale, and then you wiggle your fingers and open your eyes. And I hope that has helped you. All right, we're going to be back again. Most likely Monday. Let me check my calendar. The dates keep changing because things keep changing. Actually, Tuesday. I'll be back on Tuesday. And 10 a.m. Tuesday, the 24th, 10 a.m. Arizona time. And pardon my allergies. But anyway, I hope this has helped you. Let me just check in with people. Jody says, thanks. You're welcome. I don't have to work on the color correction because I look like I'm disappearing. And you have the power now to really move those thoughts, that frequency, into that place where if you have a thought that passes through you, oh my gosh, what if, you take hold of it, you acknowledge the thought, the feeling, you breathe into it, you ignite the opposite to that thought, that feeling of fear, worry, doubt. They're all minions of fear. Anything negative is a minion of fear. And you transmute it and you change that frequency and up your vibe immediately. And then you put that into the world by helping to support someone else, helping to go shopping for an elder in your neighborhood, or offering a client excess time if they can't get to you. Things that you know are supportive and helpful. And that supports the grid of the earth. Okay, folks, I'll be back. Have a beautiful, supportive, happy, pure conscious, love kind of happy weekend and a cookie. And I will see you. Oh, you're welcome. You're welcome. Thanks so much. I got to squash Trump and turn him into something good. Okay, whatever you want to use it for. This is not a political forum, but if that helps you, absolutely you go for it. All right, folks, be well. You are crystalline energy spirits. Do something with that. Get excited about how you can alter this vibe right now, and you can be part of the cure and the solution for not just this, but for anything, because there's always something going on. There are many kinds of viruses, bacterias, angry, upsetting behaviors. You can support the energy grid of the earth yourself and put that love into the world, and you can see transformation. That's a happy thing. All right. I'll see you soon. Thanks for being here. Bye.